Today is Wednesday, April 21st. What to know about the guilty verdict in Derek Chauvin's murder trial, what he's now guilty of, what his defense team may do next, and reaction from some prominent people. Also, what the body camera footage shows in another police shooting of a teenager. And we'll explain Florida's new Anti-Riot Law. Plus, where federal officials are telling Americans not to travel, the new products Apple just unveiled, and which popular payment app started its own crypto program. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. 12 jurors unanimously agreed the former police officer who kneeled on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes committed murder. The Minneapolis jury found Derek Chauvin guilty of all 3 counts against him: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. When the judge read the verdict, Chauvin had no significant reaction. Right away, the judge denied him bail, and with that, Chauvin was handcuffed and led to prison. His sentencing is not happening until June, but it is possible Chauvin ends up spending decades in prison. One of the lead prosecutors thanked the jurors outside the courtroom, saying they did what was, quote, right and decent and correct. So far, the defense team has not commented on the jury's decision, but some legal experts say they expect Chauvin's lawyers to file an appeal. As Reuters reports, they could argue the jury was unfairly swayed by media coverage, as well as a settlement in a civil case announced just before the criminal trial started. Chauvin's lawyers now have 2 months to file an appeal if they want to go that route. Meanwhile, activists and politicians are celebrating. Crowds gathered all around the country, cheering, chanting, and dancing. Several prominent people and organizations put out statements. For example, the National Fraternal Order of Police said, quote, the trial was fair and due process was served. President Biden spoke with Floyd's family on the phone, then addressed the nation from the White House. He called the verdict a, quote, giant step forward in the march toward justice in America. But he also called the verdict accountability that is much too rare. Vice President Kamala Harris also spoke, saying, quote, we still have work to do. We still must reform the system. The Biden administration is now asking Congress to take up policing reforms on the federal level. Next up, the 3 other police officers who were on scene the day George Floyd died are also going on trial. They're charged with aiding and abetting murder and manslaughter since they did not stop Chauvin from kneeling on Floyd's neck. Their trials are scheduled to start in August. Protesters have been rallying over another case of a white police officer killing a black person. This time it was a teenage girl in Columbus, Ohio. The officer shot and killed 16-year-old Micaiah Bryant. Police released body camera footage just hours after it happened yesterday. It shows officers walk up to a house where a group of young people were fighting in a driveway. Micaiah is seen pushing someone who falls to the ground. Then she swings at another girl. Police say she had a knife in her hand at the time. At that point, it sounds like the officer shot 4 times at her while people nearby yelled, she's just a kid. She was taken to the hospital where she died. State investigators are now looking into this to see if the officer's actions were justified. Since this shooting happened, hundreds of protesters have gathered outside the police station and near the crime scene. As of early this morning, they were peaceful. Florida has a new anti-riot law inspired by last summer's unrest over George Floyd's death. Florida's governor signed the measure this week, calling it the, quote, strongest anti-rioting, pro-law enforcement measure in the country. It increases the punishment for people who block roadways, deface public monuments, or get violent during demonstrations. Then it makes it so anyone arrested at a protest or riot cannot be released on bail until their first court appearance. So most of the time, that would mean staying in jail overnight. The new law also says anyone who has their property damaged during civil unrest can then sue the local government for not doing enough to stop it. Another element of the new law addresses calls to defund the police. It says officials can appeal to the governor and his cabinet anytime local officials cut law enforcement funding. Florida Republicans who helped get this bill passed say it's important to prevent the property damage, violence, and looting that they've seen after riots elsewhere in the U.S. And at least one sheriff praised the law, calling it necessary to protect Florida's reputation as a family-friendly tourist destination. But civil rights groups and Florida Democrats say they're worried it'll stop people from using their First Amendment right to protest. Plus, they worry someone might end up facing felony charges for going to a protest that turns violent, even if they don't get violent themselves. Either way, the law went into effect immediately. President Biden reportedly plans to announce an aggressive new climate goal this week. The Washington Post and others are citing sources who say Biden wants to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half by the end of the decade. They say he'll make the pledge at a virtual summit on Thursday that 36 other world leaders are going to. And that way, he's hoping to convince other countries to follow suit. That pledge would be double the target the U.S. promised under the 2015 climate agreement, but it would actually be lower than what some other European countries have set already. It's still not clear exactly how the Biden administration is planning to meet this goal, but the New York Times reports it could mean Americans changing the way we drive, heat our homes, and manufacture goods. More news ahead, but first, thanks to our sponsor this week, Rothy's. Just in case you're not familiar, Rothy's makes chic, comfortable, washable, and sustainable shoes, bags, and masks. And I love that Rothy's is always up to date with what's on trend, or choose classic pieces to wear season after season. Either way, Rothy's come in a constantly changing variety of styles, colors, prints, and patterns. And these are high-quality products. I'm still wearing and loving the red Rothy's flats I got back in 2019. I can throw them on with almost any outfit, and they're hands down the most comfortable flats I've ever worn. Plus, I can just toss them in the washing machine for a quick refresh whenever I need. I'm also a big fan of the lace-up shoes I bought more recently. They're comfortable and casual while still stylish. And if you like to buy from companies who prioritize sustainability, look no further. Rothy's shoes and accessories are made out of plastic water bottles. So check out all the amazing shoes, bags, and masks available right now at rothys.com/newsworthy. That's Rothys, Rothys, rothys.com/newsworthy. Style and sustainability meet to create your new favorites. Head to rothys.com/newsworthy today. Okay, now back to the news. If you're hoping to book an international trip soon, the State Department says not so fast. It overhauled its travel advisory list and now says Americans should not travel to about 80% of the world's countries. And yes, it's mostly because of the ongoing global pandemic. On the government website, you'll see most countries labeled with a level 4 advisory, which is the highest level, and it means avoid going there for any reason. The State Department says it made this change to more closely align with the CDC's COVID-19 safety guidelines. So why now, with millions of Americans getting vaccinated? The short answer is because infection rates are still higher in other parts of the world. Plus, the State Department's travel advisories are also based on restrictions other countries have placed on Americans. And factors like whether the U.S. government would be able to step in if an American citizen needed help overseas. In the meantime, health officials say it is safe for vaccinated people to travel within the United States without restrictions. Apple unveiled a long list of new product upgrades during its annual spring event. Let's start with the new iPad Pro. It'll be equipped with a more powerful chip called the M1, which Apple says will help make it faster and deliver sharper images. The new line of iMac computers will also run on the new M1 processor. The new iMacs are much thinner than older models, and they have 24-inch display screens that come in 7 different colors. Apple has also made changes to its custom credit card. Family members can now share one account with the Apple Card family. The main user can set limits on how much each family member is allowed to spend and then track spending. Parents can share this card with kids as young as 13. Also, Apple announced plans to debut its own podcast subscription service next month, and it revealed a purple iPhone 12. Finally, Apple debuted its AirTag. It's a small device meant to help people keep tabs on important items like keys or luggage so they don't get lost. Each AirTag device has a built-in speaker and connects with Apple's Find My app. Yet another big step for cryptocurrency. The mobile payment app Venmo says it now supports digital currencies on its platform. So the app's 70 million users will be able to buy and sell 4 different cryptocurrencies right in the app: Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Venmo also put some explainer videos in the app to help guide crypto newbies before they get started. Venmo's parent company PayPal says the goal is to help customers explore the world of crypto in an app they already know how to use and clear up misconceptions about how cryptocurrencies work. The Crypto on Venmo program has already debuted on some users' phones, and the feature will launch to all customers in the coming weeks. Scientists are learning new details about the most famous type of dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus rex. They now say even though the huge creature was a dangerous predator, a lot of its prey could have easily outrun it. A team of paleontologists in the Netherlands now says this dinosaur walked no faster than about 3 miles per hour. That's about the same pace humans walk. The new calculations are based on how the T-Rex likely moved its tail. But the Dutch team is still working to figure out just how fast the T-Rex could run if it needed to. As CNN reports, previous studies have estimated the T-Rex could have run no faster than 18 miles per hour. Otherwise, its bones would have shattered from the effort. Researchers also have a new reason to believe this dinosaur moved in packs. Scientists recently unearthed a grave site in Utah that includes bones from 4 or 5 T-Rexes that likely died during a flood. This is the third site of its kind researchers have found over the years, suggesting the T-Rex was more social than previously thought. And that's it for the main news today, but now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, a quick break for today's sponsor. A multivitamin should have key nutrients that will help fill gaps in any diet, but should not have any shady extras. Well, that's why I take Ritual vitamins. Ritual offers a one-of-a-kind visible supply chain, so you always know what nutrients you're taking and where they came from. That's actually one of the things that first convinced me to start trusting Ritual and taking their vitamins. And then the fresh taste of the pills that never made me feel like I needed to hold my nose while taking them actually kept me around. I also like their free and easy delivery options. All of that is why I'm so happy to be recommending them to you, and I've gotten a bunch of my local friends to start taking them as well. They're available for women, men, and teens. They're vegan certified, non-GMO, and both gluten and allergen free. They're even scientist and nutritionist recommended. So join me and get the key nutrients you need with Ritual. And right now, Ritual is offering listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Just visit ritual.com/newsworthy to start your Ritual today. That's ritual.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. Major American companies are trying to make sure their workers can easily access COVID-19 vaccines. The AP reports corporations like American Airlines, Amazon, Ford Motors, and many more have been able to get healthcare providers to deliver thousands of vaccines on site. Tyson Foods, for example, says it hosted vaccine events in 16 states, and about 40,000 of its workers got shots that way. The AP also says smaller companies and unions have been able to book appointments for employees, freeing a lot of people from having to hunt online for open appointments or sites. And what's still being debated, though, is whether more companies could start requiring workers to get the COVID-19 vaccine. According to a recent survey, most business owners plan to encourage vaccination, but not make it mandatory. It is possible, though, some companies could go the other way. The federal government explained back in December that businesses are within their legal right to mandate certain vaccinations, with exceptions made for medical or religious reasons. All right, thank you so much for listening today and sharing the show with friends and family. And a big thanks to our insiders for supporting our work. If you're interested, we offer ad-free episodes to our Newsworthy Insiders. It makes listening to each episode even faster. And if you sign up for the year, you get a month free. Just go to thenewsworthy.com/insider for all the details. We'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.